my God, I just realized something. The other day I was looking at some stuff. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, hi. We're almost up to 700 followers on the Twitch channel. That's
Whoa!
yeah. We're just 2 away from that. So, and this is my Sundays are fun, folks. I enjoy my Sundays. We just did session 64 last week. Tonight is session 65. That's crazy. And we did something kind of fun. Does anybody remember what we did when we concluded last
Double
week?
milestone?
Double milestones.
Well, yeah, that was kind of a quirky thing that happened. I actually forgot about that. But yes, but more importantly, we have a 2-month time dilation. Within the Voik clan of the Elk, who are now currently in the process of embracing the oncoming of spring and having to rebuild Fjordheim after the battle with the Bear Clan and the Vassarisk entity, who currently is one of the simulacrums that has now been destroyed. One of the simulacrums that served Mason, who has gradually and inevitably become some kind of vampire-like creature who continues to seek these stones of power, these beacon stones, these stones that either exist in these ancient lighthouses amongst these great isles called the Shattered Isles. And it has taken us quite a while to get here. And recently, the team combated a primordial fire dragon that was linked directly to Thordak, a dragon of long ago who had invaded Taldori and destroyed Amon along with the Chroma Conclave. This allowed us to rescue the Sky Reacher, retrieve one of the fire stones that was in one of the beacon towers, fort the simulacrum of Vassarisk, as well as allow us to finally defeat the final simulacrum at the battle with the Bear Clan, as the Elk Voik were being led into the sacrifice of the beaconed tower, the great lighthouse that sits on the side of a cliff above Fjordheim. And that's where we last left off. A beginning of celebration. Spring is arriving to the island, and the team have some downtime. 2 months of being able to describe whatever they'd like to do. We will make some rolls and narrate out the outcomes with the anticipation of the great spring festival that will arrive at the conclusion of your 2-month downtime, as the team will have to start making some important choices. What to pursue. Seek out Mason, seek out truth about the lighthouse, or continue to maybe seek rest and solace with the Voik in the hopes of better understanding what the potential threat of what Mason is accomplishing or trying to do. And with that, what would you guys like to do with your 2-month time dilation? And who would like to go first? See, this is where no one in class raises their hand. Especially Puck. She's terrified.
I am muted for once. It is not me.
Go for it, Kenneth.
Yeah, I think there are probably a couple of things that Xanth would have focused on during that period. I think one is communing with Helm, trying to understand the bracelet better, trying to understand like his purpose for her, if there is one. And I think the second is, she knows that the Mason threat is just sort of percolating, and she's trying to learn everything she can about him. And I think the two things she's most interested in are, like, one, I think she's seriously considering what Earthen suggested a long time ago, which is like resurrecting the Martinet and trying to, because I feel kind of bad for her now at this point, but also to try and learn more. And I think the second is I'm just trying to understand. We've heard references to like, to him hearing voices and speaking to someone and trying to understand who that is and if there's some larger power at play.
Who Mason has been speaking to?
Am I blanking on the name of our big bad guy?
Oh, you thinking of Dominion?
No, the vampire guy.
Yeah, Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting that you remembered that little side bit about him talking to the darkness and having a conversation with something unseen. Yeah, that's interesting. So what would you like to start with first? The bracelet?
Yeah, I think the bracelet.
Go ahead and give me, for starters, do you want to use a commune spell? You have that, right?
Yeah, I have.
It doesn't need to be ready in your inventory because this is like a 2-month period.
I'll use commune, and I also have a spell called Temple of the Gods, which allows me essentially every day to create a temple to a deity that I choose. And there are some benefits to that temple, like people can't cast divination spells inside, and certain types of creatures can't get in. But I think it also is like a way to
how cool would
with
that
them.
be to cast it in the midst of Fjordheim every morning as part of your ritual of prayer, right? As you try to discover the truth of the bracelet, try to see if you get it to reveal itself to you.
Yeah.
More importantly, it offers protection to the Voiks who are currently in the process of rebuilding their community. Therefore, those that have survived and rebuilding this community cannot be scryed upon by Mason.
Yeah.
As we know, his power has grown quite significantly over time. Ooh, I love that. I love it. So while Xanath is going to approach things that way, Earthen, what are your thoughts on what you think Earthen would be doing during this time as well?
What good is a rabble rouser without a rabble to rouse? So I will be taking, I assume I would take Skyreacher and possibly the oh man, what's her name? I wrote it down. The blind lady that had me run back and forth. Yeah, the lore keeper, and kind of like as an entourage, take them and into each of the other clans. The Bear Clan might not be so receptive at the moment, but would be hopping around from clan to clan, trying to unite the Voik under the Elk Clan, as the guardians of the Shattered Isles.
Ooh, I like that.
Also reading the strength book, because that could, Earthen could use a little more strength.
So the Gable Keeper is known as Talindra.
Talindra, yes.
Yeah. The priestess, the shaman priestess, is known as Embermane. Gable Keeper is more of an oracle because she is blind and has a psychic connection with the island. She's going to journey with you and introduce you to the other clans. Do you remember the name of all the clans?
Sure, I've got them written down. I know there's Dragon,
which is a clan that no longer exists.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly.
Hang on, I've got them all written down.
There's Bear.
Yep, we know Bear. I just got to get back how many pages it was.
Believe there should be the Hawk.
There was a Raven, I thought, too.
Sorry, the Raven. Nope, you're right. The Raven.
Where's the freaking page of those guys?
Fuck's like there's clans? What?
Oh, hey. Manatee, Orca, Rabbit. Manatee. See how many pages back I had to go? Just FYI. This was. Let me get the session. I get the session number off of this. That was session 48. I'm going back to session 48 to get these notes.
So it was Rabbit?
Rabbit, Orca, Raven, Manatee, Elk, Bear. Those are the ones that I had written down from the first
Correct.
day that we talked about them in session 48. And they all have this idea of the sea as the home of the gods. Their lore is driven by totems. They're sacrificial in nature, and a great kraken beneath. They believe in a great kraken beneath with as the foundation of the world, which most likely sounds like our buddy Ukatoa.
Depends on interpretation, doesn't it? Cylindra has agreed to reach out to the other 6 shamans of the different clans. The 7th clan, Dragon Clan, is no one to make a contact to. But the Dragon Clan's former location is the only spot that all the clan leadership are allowed to meet to try to convince each other upon the agreements of who's at war and who's not at war. While the Bear Clan made war without the agreement of the other leaderships, this has kind of sent things into a bit of a spiral, a bit of a kind of change of order and change of pattern of things, as well as rumors of what had happened at the Vulcan Heights are beginning to spread as well. So that'll definitely affect you and Tylinder's journey to try to see if you can't convince these other clans to kind of fold into one idea of unification.
Democracy.
Forced freedom, as I like to say.
No, it's the Island Senate, right? The Island Senate.
Puck, what are you doing with your 2 months? What do you think Puck would be doing?
I think Puck is very curious about the light tower. And we'll try to both connect with the stone, with the fire elemental stone, and use that connection to try and understand the tower and how they might be able to get the beacon inside. And also just try to get a strong sense for the environment, the nature, try to reach out to a couple of creatures, including apropos some old foes we haven't quite gotten to know as well as we'd like to. I do recall there was a zombie necrotic kraken-like creature at one point. I'm just gonna reach out and see if anyone is there, and if they still have time.
Wait, are you just reaching out to all the monsters?
just out of curiosity. I would love to see a zombie kraken. It's just a personal thing. This
I
is
did hear
fully
something
just
about.
personal time now.
I heard something about a zombie Tyrannosaurus around here somewhere.
Oh, great! I love those.
It's on another
and
island,
also,
long time ago.
Try to very, very carefully connect a little bit with the coin of awareness. Not go there, but see if I can still go there.
Ooh, the coin of awareness. You haven't used that for a while, right?
It is still in the dimension where I met Dominion in the family that I left it with.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can see within a long distance of it, I think. Let me check the exact number.
Yeah. Holy crap, you're reaching way back into some backstory closure that occurred with you. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity. Also, she did care for the family she left it with, so she hopes that they are okay. Inventory.
And which family was that? Was that the one on Haven or the one?
No,
The one in Faerun, right?
it was the one.
Oh,
it
the
was,
one that you dream journey.
What's
You
his
did
faces?
Andrew?
You did the dream journey for
Andrew starts the K. His last name starts the K. I remember that much.
Was it Andrew?
So I can see within 60 feet of it.
Was it Andrew Kincaid?
Not Kincaid. Hang on. Oh, I'll find it. Just there's so much to look at.
Do you remember? God, that was a while ago. Because that was even pre-Draxelhaven, right?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I think so.
That was before we went to Draxelhaven. Yeah,
Wow.
that was when we left. Well, we left. It was between Gnomeworks and Draxelhaven.
Andrew Carson.
Yep.
Yeah, if I recall, he was swallowed by the rift and very tragically could not see his
That's when
family again.
your guys' ship got destroyed.
Well, remember he survived because he survived because he hid on the ship because he knew it happened before.
Mhm.
But then he was like, "I'm going home, guys," and took off. But he gave me his book. I got his book. His Harper's book.
No, he used the rift to return home.
Yeah.
He just couldn't stand being away from home any longer. And now that he understood through your guys' kind of interaction with the rift, he made his way back home. We also know that Winter and the Sibo, along with a couple others, are still in the Fae, not to have been heard from yet, as far as we know.
No. And also just spending some quality time with my tiger and going to the local bar and drinking a lot. A concerning amount, an amount that requires some type of intervention, but we're not there yet.
No, I love it. I love it. What is Spot doing with his 2 months?
Spot is going to try to actually use this opportunity to move into being more of a monk than they ever really have been. Like, the main thing that they want to do every morning is make a hero's feast for all of the people with the highest workload, just something that makes their jobs a little bit easier. He offers his services, they offer their services to Earthen. If there's any particularly like recalcitrant Void clans, ones that don't want to join without like a feat of strength or demonstration, I'll tag along and kind of be like, I want to do this as peacefully as possible, but if you need this big tough cat guy, and they did have one experience they wanted to run on the Keystone.
That's right, the Keystone.
You muted Earthen. Was that anything for us?
Nope, sorry, kids.
No worries, no worries.
So you want to take time to study the Keystone as well?
I wanted to try to do an experiment to see if it would work. But
Okay.
like this is like a day-long project. This is not a big part of the 2 months.
For you, Xanith, on the 15th day of your ritual, you've been getting up in the mornings, having a meal with your friends before they go off in different directions to accomplish what they do. With the exception of Puck seems to get up, roll out of bed, and immediately squeal for Bloody Marys and then disappear. Earthen working on some poetry and music to possibly, excuse me, these allergies are killing me. Possibly work on persuading the other clans to form some kind of unification pact, come together. And then Spot practicing the art of making these amazing banquet-like meals in the morning that all the Voik kind of come and gather as a community to consume while they watch you bring this temple to Helm into existence every morning, kind of very ritualistically. You take that time each morning to commune, to tap in to the divinity of Helm. And with each attempt, you feel their presence there, especially when the temple comes to full existence and you're deep in your thoughts. And daily, you've been kind of prepping your mind to finally, hopefully, hear Helm's wisdom and hear what Helm has to say. And you begin to think about the bracelet at the same time. As it was a gift, there was a promise that came along with that gift. A series of revelations that would come into effect as you would agree to become a champion of Helm. Almost as if the temple, the commune, you're feeling yourself become more cloistered towards a Templar or like priesthood existence. And you use this 15 days to really nurture your idea of Helm and its connection with your parents. And I would even say on occasion, at the end of these days, you take time to reach out to your mother, see how she's doing, see how your father's doing, just to kind of get a general feel for how the mainland of Wildmont is doing. It's been a long time since you've been home. You've been out in the world. You've been chasing this idea of a dangerous person who is possibly being manipulated by something even more dangerous. And these pathways have threatened your friends, kept you from your family. And it's this lack of kind of setting yourself down in one place for a long period of time that has kind of kept you distracted. But for the first time, you've got time to reach out. The bracelet affords you 2 revelations during this process. One revelation is that this once was worn by a former champion of Helm who fell in battle, which allows you to inherit Revelation Battle Cry once per long rest. You can immediately use 100 hit points to heal up to 7 allies.
Ooh, that's awesome.
It's a pool of hit points, basically, that you can dish out to all the people. That's the revelation of Battle Cry. The third revelation, because I think you've already had one, right? You've had the initial.
I think I've had 2.
Have
I
you had
had
2?
the initial, and then when we did the trial, I got, I think, the second revelation.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got, so this is the 4th revelation of 5. The 4th revelation is called In His Shadow. As a bonus action once per day, you can cast Globe of Invulnerability that can last up to a minute with concentration. Basically, you summon Helm's name and his energy. His transparent helmet of protection kind of like surrounds you in a 30-foot radius, and anybody standing in that radius gains the benefit of Globe of Invulnerability.
Awesome.
So once again, the idea of defense, battle, healing. Helm has always been traditionally someone who fosters the goodness of his champions, but that goodness comes with a price. The idea that you're willing to wade into very challenging battles, very similar to what you've been doing lately. But it's a early morning on the 15th day as you come out of your kind of meditative prayer with the bracelet, and you notice a very strange kind of, when you make the temple, what's the main focus of the temple? What do you think it looks like to you when you make it?
I think it's because there's nothing very frilly about Helm. I think it's very stark lines. I think it's a white temple, and when you walk in, it's like sort of just a white floors, white stone walls, and then probably a statue of Helm at the top.
Okay. As you get off your the kneeling banister in front of the statue that you created as part of this ritual that you do every morning, you feel a presence for the first time in a long time. The last time you felt this presence is when you were in amongst the rifts, and the veil of magic and the material planes became very thin, and therefore the echo of your existence was able to find its way out to the celestial gate. And there the idea of you found Helm, and Helm in turn found you and had gifted you the bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that moment yet again, that presence. He's here. You can feel a cool wind, a warm breeze. A candle placed at the base of the statue lights on its own accord. It just kind of lights up. You can feel him. He's here. And the last time you felt this presence, you felt compelled to ask questions.
I think if I feel his presence there, I think I would just speak to what I'm feeling and say, we're in this period of quiet, but I know it won't last. And I'm looking for Mason, but I think there could be a larger power behind him. Do you know anything about it?
You hear that very kind of passive, neutral voice in your mind. Power only comes from those that wield it. The gods had all the power, but we chose to leave your home and your place of existence to protect you from our mistakes. This concern of yours is valid. There is an unseen shadow that haunts this person you seek. Something at the edge of its existence, in darkness, never taking form, never really there. Twists this man's mind, gives him what he wants. But you and your friends have taken away his ability to find what he wants. Now he struggles, he slips into an insanity that is more dangerous now. He's more desperate. As a champion, you've done well. There's that kind of temple-like silence in the background as the first question is answered.
A long time ago, we placed a hearthstone in the hands of Erebos. And I wonder if we made a mistake, if that's one of the stones that Mason was seeking. Do you know where Erebos is?
Erebos is an entity of time. A creature who would control and make sure that time itself was balanced between the planes of existence. You may even have seen the world that he created to balance those ideas of time. Great statue connecting all the different rifts, all the different planes of existence at a single point of transition. Here he was able to watch things leave, watch things enter, and keep an eye on the world to make sure that no one could ever find the celestial gates. Keeping the betrayer gods hidden was his main purpose by manipulating the planes of time. By giving him the stone, you have allowed the stone to wander into places that not even your enemies can get to.
So maybe it's better for him to have it.
Just that awkward silence.
Yeah. What is Mason seeking the stones for? Is he just trying to harvest their power to make himself more powerful, or is he seeking to open a gate or to pass through a rift?
I believe he seeks something that no one has ever tried before. Many of power have always attempted to become something they weren't meant for. And some have come so close, they wander in madness throughout the planes of existence, looking for a place to call home so that they can foster that anger, that insanity into more power, only to be consumed by this power forever. Like your friend Earthen, Mason is haunted by his past, his inability to control his present, and an unknown future that will force Mason to have to make choices. While the gods have always protected their children through their champion, I cannot predict outcomes. What you're hearing is not my voice. You're hearing a sentiment of my mind, an emotion of divinity, a way for your mind to interpret a bare minimal of what I feel is important, the safety of my children and Exandria. Mason seeks to remake himself. He seeks to become something that has never, well, been explained before. Some have ascended to godhood, some have not. Some have tried, failed, only to go mad with the attempt. He is attempting to remake his past so that he can predict his future. Even now, time and time again, with the one stone that he has until it fractures under the weight of its use, he seeks that one rift, that one random rift that'll take him back to what made him what he is. He seeks to change his future by changing his past. What that is, I do not know. Not even gods dare mess with the timeline. Not even gods dare mess with the idea of past, present, and future. These are things that made the gods. I fear for my safety, and I fear for yours as well. Seek him out. Undo what he's done. Contain what he has become. Prevent what he is trying to do. And you just kind of watch as the candle goes out. And the kind of hollowed ambiance of the hall just kind of goes back to the breeze outside, the wind. You can hear the gawkers and onlookers that stop from time to time to look inside the temple, too afraid to really come inside, not knowing what it means and what it's there for. Earthen, you meet up with the Oracle, the Lore Keeper, often referred to as the Gable Keeper. It's on a morning that you watch for umpteenth time as Xanath goes into her ritual of what she does. Freshly bring in the temple to afford her the time she needs to commune. Puck has made fast friends of a handful of the Void. They mostly spend their time walking up to the lighthouse to examine it, but by the time they get back, they're so drunk, they just kind of head off into the nearby drinking hall that's been rebuilt first. And it's often you don't see Puck for many days at a time. It's just this kind of existence of her traveling with these new Voik up to the cliff face, examining the lighthouse, having deep conversations. Every now and then you catch her wandering through the village on the back of her tiger as she's, slumped over, eventually passing out from drinking far too much. But you get the feeling that Puck might be in her element.
Intervention.
I know, right? You kind of get the feeling that Puck is like in her element, though. Time for you affords you an opportunity to take a few days at a time to speak with the Gable Keeper. You begin to learn a lot about the past of the Voik. And it's through your conversations with her that you finally learn the ultimate truth about the Voik. They are rift travelers. They are not, they do not originate from Exandria. When the veil was first formed after Calamity, that veil then tapped in to the different planes of existence and created these rifts. These rifts were stable for many, many centuries. It might even explain their unnatural aging, their ability to live long lifespans without being directly linked to Sylvan heritage or dwarf or gnomish heritage. It's during one of these conversations that the Gable Keeper kind of takes the time out to kind of coordinate all of this for you. At one time, all of us lived under the same roof. As each chief sought out an opportunity to follow their spirit guide, this found them wandering in places they didn't understand. The first of those to find their way to the rifts was the Bear Clan. Second, the Elk, and eventually all the others followed, except one did not come through the rifts, the rest of us. That was the Dragon Clan. Our culture and our beliefs to not follow your spirit guardian is a blasphemy of nature. All the clans swore an oath of enemy towards the Dragon Clan. And when they finally did arrive, they were corrupt. Their essence changed. What they were once, they were no more. We discovered the dragon had corrupted their minds, used them to travel through the rift to escape their own punishment from where we hail from. Unfortunately, this creature used magic that was unfamiliar to us, caused the different clans to war against each other, and upon the final death of the last clan of dragon, along with their corrupted dragon, the magic of the rift was undone, and its destabilized condition became the norm. For centuries, we have watched things come in and out of these rifts, not explainable to us. And we war with each other, we forget our past, our chiefs are divided. If you wish for me to gather all the shamans, I can do this for you. But how do you take centuries of hate and despair and turn it into something that will reunify these people?
You mentioned that the Dragon Clan declined to follow their spirit guardian. You're saying the bear, elk, all of their spirit guardians all brought you here?
Yes, they did. That's what the legends teach us.
Why?
Why is that always your question? I seek an answer from you, and all you do is ask me a question.
It's what I'm good at.
Actually, no, it's not. It's quite annoying. If I gather these shamans for you, what will you do to convince them to unite once again? You are a stranger to our culture, to our ways.
But I've been accepted by yours. And I was
Been
accepted
by the Bear Clan, or by the Elk Clan, yes.
Yes, for good reason. It wasn't my silver tongue that got me accepted into the clan. Your spirit guardians led you here for a reason. I don't
not-
believe your spirit guardians intended for your chiefs to bring their people here to fight on Exandria.
There could be agreement in this. The fighting did not occur until after the Dragon Clan arrived.
You mentioned the Dragon Clan were corrupted. I deign to call him a man anymore. The person who we have chased here. He has also become corrupted. If he's left to reign free among disparate tribes, he will certainly end you all. What you saw, what you experienced with that lizard folk was a fraction of his power. And look what uniting one tribe against them with just him leading did to the Elk clan.
So, if I bring these shamans together, your argument to them is to let them understand that the Elk clan's success was rooted in the fact that we united with you to defeat the Bear clan. Therefore, if all clans unite together, we can defeat this entity, this thing you call Mason.
Correct.
The
We need not.
shamans are creatures of oracle purpose. There's a good chance they may force you to spirit walk and therefore prove your worth to them. I am not going to lie. No one outside of our clans have ever done this before. Your frail body may not be able to handle it, but you do seem to have a strong mind, and maybe that's enough to save you.
If that's what the tribes would ask of me in order to unite them for this cause, then I'm willing to do that.
A few days go by. Eventually, Talindra finds you. You and Spot are over by one of the meal tables that Spot works on meticulously each day. Puck and Xanath are down at another table having a conversation with some of the Voik. The Fjordheim village is actually coming along quite nicely. Things are improving. The main mead hall now is back up and functioning. The longhouse is back up as well. And now all the Viking framed houses and the places that they live under normal circumstances are kind of the main focus. Luckily, it's spring, so the weather's not too harsh. Talindra finds you, and the two of you set off on foot for an area called the Crag's Overwatch. The Crag's Overwatch is said to be where the last great battle took place between the unified clans against the Dragon Clan. As you approach Crag's Overwatch, it's night by the time you get there. You can already hear a strange kind of drumming and chanting, a kind of feeling that you're walking into something that has already been ongoing. Here you can see the other 6 shamans. They're in a semicircle around each of their effigies in the middle of this overlooking hanging piece of rock that looks down into the exposed sea down below. You can see small mementos, totems, placed kind of very religiously around as if to indicate important markings of battles and where important people had fell from each of the different clans. Talindra guides you in front of the Elk clan totem by a brazier that she has lit. It glows with a yellow-orange light. I am the Gable Keeper Talindra. I have given voice to the priestess Embermain, and I have guided Reach's Sky to prepare for the Sky Reacher, to prepare her for her eventual chieftain status. I advise the chief, I advise the warriors of Clan Elk, and during this time, a stranger has walked into our community. Past our challenges, not unlike the challenges the other clans provide. I, the lander of the Elk clan, give him voice. I call this circle of peace, and this circle to discuss the future of the clans. She turns and she casts Enhance Ability on you. She enhances your intelligence. Therefore, you have advantage on all intelligence-based checks and saves. She also casts the Elk Spirit Guardians around you. And as she finishes her rituals of protection, she nudges you into the center of the circle, almost kind of like a circle of standing stones, very similar to a henge, but the stones aren't nearly as dominating. But each of these shamans take their position in front of each of these stones that bear the marking of each of their clans. They watch you with a kind of neutral air of trust, unconvinced someone of not of the clans would have any understanding as to what to do. Some of them look at you as if your death will just prove their point. As you stand in the middle of this circle, Talindra smiles at you and takes her position on the stone. You watch as one of the Voik bearing the mark of the raven steps up to you within 10 feet. This shaman looks at you, long, red, kind of braided beard, a kind of series of piercings and tattoos on his face. He's wearing a cloak of raven feathers. His armor is made of raven feathers, and he's got many totems of ravens, both on him and on his staff. I summon the shadow of our past to prove your worth. He pounds the staff into the ground, and you watch as one of the nearby cairns begins to peel apart as an undead Voik warrior begins to pull himself out of the ground and stands there nearby, not moving. One by one, each of the shamans do this until 7 undead warriors stand in a circle around you. All fallen in battle, but fallen during the period of unification, during the great fight against the Dragon Clan. I need you to make an intelligence save, if you would, please, Earthen.
Yep. That's a nat 20.
Nice.
Ooh.
Total
First roll of
of
the night. Total of 25.
there is a mind in your mind. There is a feeling of a connection with this first mind. Then you feel another mind and another and another. All 7 minds of the dead warriors now connected to you. The psychic pressure on you is immense. You take half of 54 points of psychic damage. Slight bloody nose, your ears ringing with the pain. But Talindra's protection wards immediately kick in. You feel the elk spirits around you respond to this success of your mind as they give you 18 points of healing. And the elks kind of leap around you, up and over and in different directions around you. There's a sense of calm. And for the next few moments, you live out their memories. The pitched battle on this Overwatch. The desperation of the warriors fighting against the Dragon Clan. The image so visceral you could smell the blood, hear the crash of weapons, the breaking of bone, the yells and struggles of both female and male Voic alike as they sway back and forth in battle, pitched. And that's when you begin to notice something strange about the Dragon Clan. They all bear a subtle resemblance to Mason. But back when you first knew him, back when you first met him during the time in the Gnomeworks, not barely machine, only the mechanical eye. But while they bear a slight resemblance to him, it's more about his human resemblance, not his mechanical augmentations. His eye color, the slight bend in the nose, the chin, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they shout and ebb into battle back and forth, the way they die. But so slight you barely notice it, but maybe it's just your mind playing tricks. Maybe this is the fear that you worry about. You then feel the psychic resonance begin to pull away from you. And you watch as one by one, each of the undead warriors crawl back into their grave. They quickly pull the soil stone back over their grave sites. And you watch as each of the spirits kind of like flare out of the henge stones. First the raven, the bear, the elk, the orca, the manatee, and the rabbit. All these spirits begin to swarm around you until you hold a crown in your hand. There's an audible gasp from the shamans, very uncharacteristic for them. In your hand, you hold the crown of Seth. An emblem on each point of the crown is depicted by the spirits that are absorbed into the crown. An elk, bear, an orca, a manatee, a raven, and a rabbit. All the wandering spirit animals that brought them here. But more importantly, the reshaping of the crown, at the very head of it is the visage of a dragon with eyes of ruby red. Dragon's visage is of gray color, no notable color. You then hear Talindra stand up, walk away from the henge stone that she's in front of, her eyes wide with both fear and appreciation at the same time. She turns to face the other shamans. The spirits have given this man the power of unification. During the festival of the full moon, the end of the 3rd and 4th month of the spring, it will be his job to determine which of our chiefs will be crowned the unifier. Which of our chiefs will for once and for all lead these clans back to the idea of unification. There's a series of coughs and shaman-like tribal throat whistles that kind of echo back towards Talindra. The spirits find purpose in you, Earth and Yarnwood. Certainly hope you find purpose in them as well. With that, you will be wandering the wilds with the Gable Keeper for a while. Back in Fjordheim. For you, Puck, there's something about this place that just... It's almost like you get all your favorite terrains whenever you choose. Sometimes you go fishing with the Voik in the morning after you watch Xaneth kind of build her temple and protect the community from prying eyes. You're always eager to run over to Spot's table. I mean, his daily ritual of creating these fantastic meals that not only embolden the people of Fjordheim, but his friends as well. And they are becoming quite the craftsman, quite the cook.
I am gonna agree with Earthen. The ultimate hangover cure.
More importantly, when you go out on the small boats with the Voik fishermen, you get an opportunity to speak with them, learn more about them. And you do this for many days. You also go to the nearby drinking hall, and you spend those evenings tossing back beverages that you can't pronounce and having these deep conversations. Your tiger, Punch, always there to make sure that you're thrown on his back to take you back to your small house that you have been given by the tribe, by the clan. Sometimes you stay in the temple that Xaneth builds just to kind of get a feel for what she must get a feel from this thing. What does it mean, these temples? What do they mean to her? Every now and then you listen to Spot drone on about the importance of spice and cumin and oregano and not quite letting the dried thyme get too overpowering. And he hates rosewater. Spot, they absolutely hate rosewater. Refuses to use it. But their baking gets better. You also have some time to speak with Earthen before the Gable Keeper eventually collects him to take him out on some kind of spirit walk or spirit activity. For the first time in a long time, no one's trying to kill you. No one's trying to make you a servant of a god. You're not trying to free undead turtles. And you're not fathoms in the sea falling through rifts. But it's also during this time of self-reflection that you learn a great deal about the Voik as a people. They age slowly. They're all warriors from the point that they're able to walk until they choose to pass. And that's the part that you find most interesting. If they die in battle, the choice is made for them. But sometimes it's a choice they're allowed to make themselves. There's usually a great ceremony or ritual. Offerings are made. The family comes to give their goodbyes, and they, by themselves, get into a boat and row out into the middle of the water. And you got to participate in one of the watchings of this. And as you watch this happen, a small rift appears, and then that person is never seen again. The boat, riderless, eventually comes back by the current to be found on the beach shore. But no one's sad, no one's upset. It's almost like it's part of their ritual, part of their culture of choice and self-determination of what you can and can't do. But you also get to experience spiritual dances. And you begin to realize more and more that there is a direct correlation between the Voik of the Elk clan and how they interpret the wilds around them, as well as the natural order of things. And in one of these moments, one of these times, you're not even sure how or why it happened, but you find yourself watching the spiritual dance happen. You are absent-mindedly holding onto a coin. You find yourself focusing in on this coin for the first time in a long time. Your eyes get heavy as you listen to the dance around you, kind of sends you into a quiet space in your mind. You are walking through a busy, familiar city. You're standing in front of a very familiar house. You walk through the door without the turn of a knob. You simply pass through. And it's as you remember it, but everything's different yet again. Whatever time and space has to offer you, time moves quickly for this family. You're now watching as time unfolds. It starts off slow, is a sunset, sunrise, sunset in rapid succession in the window. The familiar individuals of the house begin to move so quickly you can barely watch them move. You're watching days go by, weeks go by, months go by. You're watching a family that will live for many generations. Many kids, many marriages, and many successes. Your eyes flicker open for a moment as you watch the spirit dance in front of you. Not sure if it's a trick of the mind, or did you go too deep in your own mind? You're standing looking down at yourself. Standing and looking down at Punch. Sound asleep, you're curled up on his belly, kind of using it as a pillow. The coin in your hand, gripped as if you can't let it go. But you are translucent. You are energy. You can see the many different elk spirits, the recently fallen, and the ancients of this clan dancing around this fire as they celebrate into the night. It's at that moment you stare up at the beacon in the lighthouse and you feel a call. You feel something pull towards you, not nefarious in any way, a kind of calm voice, a neutral voice. If you'd like to see the truth of it, come to me. I will show you. I will show you it all. For in your chaos of your mind, Buck, I see the true nature of a spirit that deserves the truth. What do you do?
She follows the voice.
You walk out of the fire circle. You walk past Earthen putting on his backpack and being led by the gable keeper up the beach and towards whatever his destination is. You walk past Spot and Xanath and Embermane, sharing a conversation, a drink, some food, and laughter. You walk through different clusters of Voik who are happy, some are sad, some are exhausted from the day's work. You walk through Fjordheim as if it's not even an effort to take a step. Before long, you're walking up the cliff face, stairs that take you up to stand in front of the beacon tower. That voice echoes from inside. Enter, my child. Enter.
She
Allow
enters.
me
Oh.
to show you the truth.
She enters.
Don't even hesitate. You put your foot up in front of you and you step across the threshold of the lighthouse. And you are bathed in a warm, bluish light. But you can't hear anything anymore. No voice, no nothing. Just this bluish light emanating from a stone that sits on a very simple pedestal made of iron, brass, copper, interwoven in such a way that it finishes into the shape of a humanoid hand. And they're oscillating slowly, turning ever so slowly. A bluish stone. You feel compelled to stare at it. You focus on what it is. And the world becomes memory. You feel yourself standing here as everything around you goes in reverse. Everything decays around you. Until you stand overlooking an untouched island of no population, just the wilds as they are. Just out in the water, from this vantage point, something very large is streaking from the atmosphere of Exandria down into the wide Lucidian Sea. And you hear the voice again. All things have a beginning, and in that beginning, a purpose. You and yours call it calamity. Others call it rebirth. Others call it the end times, the apocalypse. Set Exandria on a new course. You watch as this comet slams into the sea. You can see this great tidal wave of energy erupt, and just before it crashes over you, memory takes you further back. Back to when all the land masses of Exandria were one. And you stand on this overlooking cliff to look down at a world filled with titans, large entities doing battle. And when they do battle, they make mountains or destroy mountains. They make lakes or they empty lakes. These huge titans wage war across this single landmass. Born from this battle, you hear the voice. When the primordials came here, they didn't know what to expect. Their hearts, filled with love and creativity, brought them here. But they made things they couldn't control. They caused things to happen that they knew were wrong, but yet they were unable to stop them. As each of our children arrived, they fell, either in battle with each other, to the magics of the world, or to their own thoughtlessness. We pulled 9 stars from the heavens. And in each of those stars, we pulled a beacon of hope. And we placed these beacons in 9 towers. These 9 towers, your people know as the Celestial Gate. One of those beacons has fallen into the hands of someone who seeks to open the gate. If he figures out how to do this, gods will be forced to return. And when they return, they bring the betrayers with them. The Titans, the Primordials, and the war on Exandria will rage all over again. While you've secured he who controls time and planetary existence, you know him as Erebos. And why you have secured 2 of the stones, one where the primordial plane of fire was consuming the material plane, while also here you stand in front of yet another one, your enemy, the 3rd. Each of the clan were given a stone to protect. The raven, the bear, the manatee, the orca, the rabbit, and the elk. You stand in the shadow of the elk stone, their spirit stone. They were called from another place of existence to help form and shape the celestial gates. Voik is Celeste for Azamir. These are the celestial protectors that keep our secret. Their spirit guides are the gods showing them the way to what they must protect. The veil, caused by calamity, kept the celestial gates to be discovered, and therefore hidden for many centuries. The veil should fall. The rifts will spread all across Exandria. The gate will open. And chaos will resume once again. Feel your eyes begin to blink open. Find yourself back by the fire, watching the dance. Spot, the wanderlust in you tells you to leave every day you wake up. There's got to be something more interesting than this, but there's a part of you that's never stood still this long before. There's a part of you that not only are you enjoying the practice of making these heroes' feasts, but you've now become proficient in them. And over the course of many days, Embermane works directly with you. The 2 of you create a totem. This totem can be used once per day to embolden allies and friends, the effects of a hero's feast. Instantly. It does not require time. It does not require effort. You merely pull the totem out. You invoke the ritual that Embermane has taught you, and you have hero's feast effects.
Whoa.
Embermane, after the work is done, pulls you aside. The 2 of you kind of take a moment to watch Xaneth go through her process. Earthen's long gone, hasn't come back yet. Puck, however, worries you. Ever since maybe a few weeks ago, she seems withdrawn, lost in thought. She's always eager to help where it's needed, but at night she immediately goes to the drinking hall to kind of just lose herself there, only to have Punch bring her back to her bed and, make sure she's tucked in. And he's always there, curled up at the foot of the bed, making sure she's safe. More importantly, she never feels compelled to bring lunch out. Pseudo Dragon, ever since that almost opportunity of losing him, weighed a little heavily on Puck as well. Embermane is currently helping you prepare food. And it's weird because you're lethal. You're a born killer. You have claws that will clear out a throat in seconds. You've walked up the backs of dragons to do battle with them. You've drifted through planes of existence. You made war on the clans of Elk Clan enemies. You've traversed time and you've gone through rifts. But yet it doesn't compare to the feeling of baking that perfect pie or putting together that perfect meal. To watch columns of exhausted Voik come into the tables that you've prepared and to see them light up, see their faces light up with the satisfaction of a meal that they know is going to embolden them and bring back their energy for the morrow, to continue doing what they're doing, to keep their backs pressed against the work of getting Fjordheim back on its feet in time for the upcoming festival. It's at this point that Embermane sees you kind of admiring the Voik coming back. I wonder, Spot. And she's chopping onions and kind of just keeping her hands busy. Did you ever think you'd end up in such a place?
No, I can't say that I did. I'll be honest, I kind of took up this whole role more as a way to con meals out of people than anything. I never really thought there'd be much to it.
She laughs at that. But you fought in the challenge just like the Ironbound. You fought with the backbone and the strength of a monk. Are you not a monk then?
I hope to be. I try to be. I spent a kind of probably a shameful part of my youth as a thief, but a dear friend, showed me once I might be something more in time. They kind of steered me down this path. I'm proud of the things I did. I look back and the feats that I've accomplished with my friends here will live in my colony's memory forever when I make it back. But I don't care about that right now. I just want to be helpful and supportive and assist in ways that I can that don't necessarily involve I just kind of withdraw my claws.
Spot, well, I'm not familiar with your kind. I am familiar with those that express themselves in such ways that leave an impression on a people. Watching you fight the Bear Clan to free the Elk Clan brothers and sisters, it was inspiring. Your friend Xaneth seems very intent on keeping us safe. Earthen seems intent on unifying the clans, and I hope he's successful. I would advise you to keep an eye on your friend Puck.
Yeah, she's I don't want to say anything because it's coming from me, the literal chaos governor of the group. But yeah, that amount of drinking for someone that's a little.
Oh no, her drinking is legendary. The Voik love her for that. That's part of our culture. It's her.
She's like a third.
Well, I guess in your way of looking at it, it might be her aura, her energy. It's almost as if she's been in contact with powerful entities that have left an imprint upon her psyche.
She absolutely has, and I can't pretend to know what that's like. The Cat Lord deigns to speak with me almost never. Timora smiles on me less than I'd like, and the Wild Mother.
Explain to me who these are. Who is this Timora? Who is this Cat Lord? What is that?
The Cat Lord is one of the primary gods of my people. They are, pretty much what I said, they're a lord of cats. Timora is a goddess of luck, and the Wild Mother is, well, one of... God, sorry, I'm forgetting who we decided she was the offspring of, but she's a goddess of nature.
Wild,
sorry? Okay.
the Wild Mother.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I threw myself out there. Nula is who it was. Yeah. But yeah, Nula is one of the daughters of the Wild Mother. Those are the three primary deities that I worship.
So, the god of your people, the Cat Lord, you worship this Timora, a goddess of luck, and then the daughter of a god who worships the idea of the natural order of things, the natural nature of the world, then.
Pretty much, yes.
One could say your strength is an emulation of your understanding of the Cat Lord. Your lucky circumstance is easily explainable at this point. And here you find yourself in the very bosom of the most natural surroundings that you can find. These all feel like fate to me. And fate always has purpose. So, let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we will wrap up the time dilation and figure out what to do next. Be right back, folks. 5 minutes. Put the break banner up.
Ah, listen for the music to go down.
Yeah, I figured that'd be an easier way to remember, that we're on break. Oh, I've been writing like crazy for our next campaign. I've got so many ideas. I can't wait to share them.
Me too. Look, like when I played, especially MMOs or whatever, I get altitis. I get about 10 levels in, and then I'm like, I need to play something else. And then I start playing, I get 10 levels in again. I need to play something else. Like on World of Warcraft, I think I have across about 17 servers. I've maxed out all the amount of characters you can have.
And they're all 10th level?
Like maybe one or two of them have actually reached max level.
Yeah.
The rest of them are, around mid range, If only you could multi-class.
My favorite part about World of Warcraft, the only thing I really enjoyed about that game is the way you had to journey through the world. Like, yep. It was very, very well done, the way the story allowed you to journey and move on and journey, and you pass through things and pass through entire lands that you get to discover for the first time. But once you did all that, once you found everything, it was kind of like, all right, I'm good. Move on to the next thing.
I missed the thing that I hated to change the most was the talent trees from Classic. When they dropped those off to just like everyone has a bunch of spells, you just pick which spells you want, basically. I was like, oh man.
It's 2 months into your break. The season has fully changed. Winter is gone. Spring is in full bloom. It is the night of the Spring Fest. All of the Elk Clan are here celebrating into the night. The music plays, the drums. The four of you are back together again inside the mead hall, enjoying 2 months rest, accomplishing some tasks, learning new information, and what would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna see if I can get Xanath to drink.
I feel like that's been, for the last 2 months, that's been you like fighting a losing battle. She's just like very resistant. She'll take like one sip and then she'll be like, I'm totally drinking. And she's not drinking and never goes down.
Just tag Spot in when you get tired. Just like, drink.
Yeah.
Huck, you just gotta pick like the heavy stuff that the sip is gonna put her down, kind of thing.
I'm glad to see that I'm not alone on this journey to.
And what, Helm doesn't protect you from a hangover?
I wouldn't know, but I think Helm would frown upon impairing my perception.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you still see everything. It's just how you react to it that's different.
There is one responsible person left in this team. Not forever.
Oh, come now.
Earthen, you were never one of the responsible people. It was Spot for a minute.
Okay.
I resent that. I've never been responsible once in my... Wait. Damn it!
You're a monk.
You want to tag back in, Spot? You want to tag back into the being irresponsible?
Yeah. All right, come on.
I think when Puck is ready, she tells them about what she saw in the lighthouse.
You went to the lighthouse?
I had a out-of-body experience that led me into the lighthouse.
Huh.
Yeah.
Who do you think was speaking to you? Who would have led you inside?
I didn't get to ask much, but did Puck get a sense of what it might be?
You give me insider religion.
Uh,
Can I give the help action if she's like describing the feeling of the interaction?
Sure.
Actually, I have an idea that might flavor that too. So I figured out. Well, let me just do this real quick. And I'm casting the telepathic bond. So
ooh.
now we don't have to talk to each other. We're in each other's heads talking.
Whoa. Well,
that's
do I
right.
get any kind of plus to my roll then, or an advantage?
Well, you get advantage because Xanath would be helping you. I'll lower the DC because Earthen does the telepathic bond.
The idea was, it's going to be hard to say the words, right? But we can feel the images, maybe,
Yeah, it's also Puck is not very eloquent, so this is perfect. 17.
Okay.
You're not even eloquent in your own head?
I've been drinking.
The experience very much felt like you were being shown the collective memories of the beginning of founding through Calamity, through Arcanum, through Calamity, up to the formation of the Shattered Isles. Like, it was almost as if the entire memory of the world was placed in that stone, and it was only through your worthiness that it revealed itself.
I make sure they hear the part where I was worthy.
Do you think it was the stone itself that called you?
Do I have any insight into that?
There was definitely some kind of presence or something about that stone that you felt called you.
Huh. Have you heard of anything like that before?
What strikes me as odd is that when we saw Helm, at that moment when you were sort of being attacked by Dominion, he said that there really was no gate and that the gods don't interfere in the world because they chose not to interfere in the world. So it's odd to hear this being describe a concern about a breach of a celestial gate.
Damn, some good notes.
Well, have any of you connected with any local spiritual experiences?
So, when I went on that trip for a few days, they gave me some weird stuff out there, and I saw lots of spirit animals, and I got challenged by, I don't even know how to describe they were dead. They were dead ancestors of the Voik that are here, and in that, well, I got this, and I reach into the bag and pull out the crown. So you notice there's a dragon at the head of this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the dragon clan supposedly doesn't exist anymore. But this is what's supposed to unify the Voik. And, on this spirit journey, I don't know if it was my own influence or if it was the real history that I was seeing, but the dragon clan that was fighting, they all seemed to look something like Mason to me. I don't know if that was my subconscious bleeding into my vision, or
What?
I mean, we do know he's been around for a long time, right?
Incredibly long.
Yeah. And when you say looks like him, you mean
They had like features of him. Like they had that weird looking nose that he's got. They had, weird looking noses. None of the mechanical stuff though. They didn't have like the
None of
whatever
the
that weird eye thing was, or the leg, his busted leg. They didn't have that, but they all like progeny, maybe, if I could describe that. They all had that familial vibe of him. Yeah. So, but again, I don't know if that's my subconscious bleeding into this, or if that was like if I was seeing the actual people of that period. They did. Go ahead.
Oh, I had a vision from Helm where he said that he thought that Mason was basically seeking his past, that there was something in the past that he was trying to reignite or bring into the present. He thought that Mason was trying to bring back something that no longer existed. I wonder if it could be something related to this dragon clan.
Have you guys seen the Voik, I guess, travel through the rift, maybe through time? Because it is the...
We just had... All I know is their boat that we found.
I described the ceremonies that I've seen and the way they seem to be interacting with time. And also what the stone said about who they are and how long they've been there.
Well, that certainly makes giving this crown away easier.
What do you mean?
You said they were guardians, right? Of the nine beacons. They're not doing a very good job of it in that, you have one, Mason has one. So not every clan, let me rephrase that. Not every clan is doing a very good job, or maybe they've abandoned their duties. I don't know.
It did seem like, the chieftain of the Elk clan, when we asked about the lighthouse, unless he was lying to us, thought there was no special significance to the lighthouse.
Well, they definitely stayed away from it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was trying to tell someone not to investigate something, I might tell them, oh, yeah, it's nothing.
That's fair.
Have any of us gotten close to the chieftain?
Well, Spot was fighting alongside him when the Bear Clan was here.
Yeah. Other than just cooking and helping them in town, have I really managed to form any kind of relationship with him or the Ironbound?
No, the Bear or the Elk Clan chieftain's been surprisingly absent during this whole time.
I guess I should probably meet. Well, not just. I mean, I need to talk more with Elk Chief, but all the other chieftains too. I think we're coming up on this spring festival thing, and I got to figure out who to give the crown to. And right now,
what if, as a joke, just for. Oh, I think I would look quite fetching in it.
She does. She has a valid point. She would. I think it would bring out her cheekbones.
Oh.
What do you know about cheekbones?
We're gonna look great.
Have you seen cats? That's like our defining facial feature. Come on.
Those are cheeks. Okay. I thought you just had a weird shaped head.
You can't say that to Scott. Scott was nice to me, so now I'm standing up for them.
I wasn't being mean. I was being honest. I don't know Tabaxi. Science?
I don't know Tabaxi fancy science. That's not my thing.
Or Xanath could put it over the helm, and I think in that way, that's a
pretty
good
badass
one too.
on that helm, yeah.
Everything. I do have a favor to ask of you when you meet up with the shamans and the chieftains, whatever. Can you ask them like I don't necessarily need them to like inquire too deeply into what I'm planning, but can you make sure that they don't need this this keystone for anything? Because don't worry about it. But I need you to make sure that this isn't like an important thing. Because don't worry about it. He's worried about it.
Yeah.
What did I just explicitly tell you not to do?
Yeah.
I won't do anything until I hear back, but I need to make sure that it's not like some priceless cultural heirloom or like if it were to get destroyed in don't worry about it fashion, that it would cause like it would tear our alliance or any nascent.
If you're that worried about it, don't touch it.
Well, hey, I'm gonna talk to Earth and
we're using telepathy.
Yeah, I mean,
I think at this point Spot is proficient in mugging Earthen.
I'm gonna just whisper to Earthen real quick. If I can find my thing here.
So that's a thing we could do. Or that ceremony to unite the tribes, that was those guys took that thing seriously. I mean, it the Dragon Clan were corrupted, they said. First, they all the Voik got here because they followed their spirit guardians and followed them through rifts, and that's how they showed up here, right? Except the Dragon Clan, they didn't follow. And then when they did show up, there was a great dragon with them, and the dragon had corrupted their minds, or corrupted the people there, and that's what led to this great big battle and the division of the clans. Basically, at that point, before that, they all kind of just everybody had their own clan, but they didn't really fight until that point, and they've been fighting ever since that point until now. Is it possible that somehow Mason is a descendant or some kind of relation to the Dragon Clan? Is that crazy?
Well, he's undead, so who knows how long he's been undead.
I wonder if it's possible that because he's been so focused on Bonrovia, could the Voik and the Dragon Clan have come from a place which was Bonrovia, but everyone else left before things turned bad in Bonrovia? Pre-Strahd and after Strahd?
Those skeletons didn't look that much bigger than us, did they?
I mean, from your standpoint, I mean, they look like the exhumed, warriors of Voiks. They were tall. I mean, big bones for big bodies, right? I mean, they were,
right.
As far as you could tell, they were just spiritual ancestors of the Voik that fought as a single unified group against the Dragon Clan.
Were there skeletons in like sort of the floating chunks of castle that we saw in the astral plane?
The only thing you can really point to is the complete absence of remains, and that weird picture, that the picture, that oil painting that consumes souls.
Yeah.
The Voik were. Hang on, I wrote a lot of notes. The Voik were rift travelers. You know, that's what they did. I don't know how they traveled the rifts, but before this great battle, the rifts were stable. Before the 7 clans broke apart and the Dragon Clan ceased to exist, they were stable. The rifts were stable.
Mm-hmm.
They called the Dragon Clan blasphemers.
Because they didn't follow, right? But why didn't they follow?
I don't know. What dragon? What dragon was it?
There was never any specification. It was just
Right.
referred to as a dragon. Yeah.
Right.
We have been meeting an awful lot of dragons.
Do you? Is there? Do you think we could reach out to Erebos somehow?
Did we ever find out who turned him into a dragon?
Thought he was a dragon.
But then he turned into a man after all of those sort of leech things were removed from him.
Yeah.
Well, I could try to send a cast message to him.
We picked up that item last time, the gate, something. What was it? The wand of summon gate.
Yeah. Which I think was expended, but we thought they could be repaired.
Yeah, but the people here didn't know how to repair it.
I also can do gate.
You can do gate?
Yeah.
Read the spell on that, because I looked into that spell before.
Let's see. So it's
a fun spell.
It's expensive, but you conjure a portal linking an unoccupied space. You can see the portal's a circular opening as front to back. You can travel through it. Deities and other planar rulers can prevent portals. When you cast a spell, you can speak the name of a specific creature. If that creature is on a plane other than the one you're on, the portal opens in the named creature's immediate vicinity and draws the creature through it to the nearest unoccupied space on your side of the portal.
Yep.
You gain no special.
That's what I read.
Creature. DM deems appropriate.
I mean, I read that too, but
that's a 9th level spell too.
That's a pretty sweet spell.
But I mean, if we really wanted to talk to Erebos, you could make him come here right now.
Mm-hmm. We could pull him through and see what questions he could answer. It seems like he's a piece of this puzzle.
Before we released him, we made him promise that he will owe us one. He disappeared before we could cash that in, and I know gods have a not great tendency of bailing on their sides of deals. But he does technically owe us.
I mean, I didn't ask anything of him. I just didn't want him to be used for what he was being used for.
I said, I will only call them if you promise you'll owe us. If we do this. And then he bailed. I should have known.
I mean, he could leave as soon as he gets here, but he really also might be super surprised to see us again.
I think he'll be okay seeing Xanath. I think at this point we know that whatever camp he's in, there is at the very least some connection there.
Didn't somebody learn something more about him in all this? I wrote 4 pages of notes already, so I was hurriedly scribbling everything down.
I guess Puck was told, and I think she related to you guys, that he was connecting the time and the location of the stars, and that it's part of his job to guard those.
And that he has one of these 9 stones, right? That one of the beacons is the stone he has.
I gave it to him.
Yeah, the Hearthstone is one of the beacons. And when I spoke to Helm said that the stone might actually be safe with him because he is such a frequent traveler.
So there were 9 stones, right? There's only 7 tribes. If Draxel Griggs was 8 and Erebos Heartstone is 9.
We have 2?
We have, well, you
have the fire.
She has one. That
Also,
we got tied to the fire plane, yeah.
Draxel Havens, the lighthouse seemed to be made of a different material than the rest of the city. So it's possible that it belonged to one of the tribes and it was moved.
There's an orca tribe and a manatee tribe, I think.
Rabbit,
Orca, manatee, raven, rabbit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that seems plausible.
Do you know how you will choose which one of those tribes deserves the crown, other than our obvious preference to the elk because they are the best?
We haven't really met the others.
I doubt they're as cool.
But also, if Erebos really is a dragon, and Erebos is the guardian of time, or a guardian of time and the stars, would it not make sense for Erebos to police the rifts?
Yeah, that seems plausible.
I mean, or we could just destroy all the stones and close all the rifts.
I mean, it sounds like maybe the stones are preventing people from getting, if there is some kind of gate or wall preventing the betrayer gods from getting in, maybe the stones are what is preventing them.
It remains unclear how the stones work, I think. We don't know if breaking them would release the gods, or if breaking them would prevent the gods from being able to come here.
You also said that the blue stone was inside like a large hand.
Yeah. And they say they would reveal the truth. Is there any entity associated with any of this?
There was that one giant hand contraption we saw back in Gnomeworks.
I just thought of that hand of fate, which is kind of a
Manos. The hand of fate.
or whatever it was called, which is sort of like that lead just went dead. We never figured out very much about it.
Well, he acted like it was nothing.
No, it was a lot. I still have this, and she takes out the hand of the merfolk that she has in a jar. Not sure what to do with it anymore.
Weren't they trying to use the Hearthstone? Weren't the Copper Keepers trying to use the Hearthstone to power the Hand of Fate?
That's what I understood, yeah.
So they were trying to use the beacon to power the Hand of Fate.
Yep.
And that, I guess, implies that somebody in Gnomeworks was responsible for whatever was happening to Erebos.
Oh man, I gotta find a name. Hang on.
I think we should fall upon Erebos. We do have, and she takes out the Firestone. This, if you want to try and connect with it to reach further away.
Hey, you remember the dead angel guy that we saw? Didn't he say he was an Asimir?
When was
And
this?
before we fought the Fire Titan, when we were all oh god, we were looking at the hammer, because I wanted to steal his hammer, Muradin's hammer. Yeah. And crap, I was trying to get back to this guy's. That's why I was looking up this guy's name.
I think that's in my last notebook. But yeah, the guy who was the guardian of the Hearthstone, and he talked about wanting to open the gate because he thought that's what the gods wanted. And when I had spoken to him, I had said, I think they want to be sealed away. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I was showing to my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember at that time, he acted like it was the Forge of Creation. That was the name of the place where we were, and that's the truth. Gosh, I'm going back so many.
I love
pages.
watching you guys piece it all together. It's like it's hard for me because you guys were right there.
Oh,
You're right there.
How many pages I'm going back right now?
Oh god, do we want to pull out the poem that was sent very early into it?
I've got that,
Because at one point I was looking over it and there was like the Eye of Dominion and I was like, crap. It's
oh,
there.
really? Like there's a Dominion reference in that poem?
Yeah. Let's see. Are we allowed to use that at this point?
I guess I really should have.
It's something that you encountered. It would be in your memory and it would be available to you. Sure.
I should have used a OneNote so I could go back and find it. Moradin's Amble. There it is. Okay. Okay, there's Moradin's Amble. Black Dragon in the pits. That's when we were talking about recovering the brood. Oh man, that was so long ago.
We found at one point an operator's manual for the Hand of Fate, and it was a book from 400 years ago.
You know, we also talked about the Cindercrest King, and we also met some giant, crazy-ass dragon in the Fire Realm that was trying to come in here.
Oh god.
The Creation Anvil, Moradin's reference. Because that was where we used the Truth Keeper Anvil to forge the key for all that stuff. I'm almost there. I feel like I'm right on the cusp. This was from when we killed Vassarisk the first time.
Oh god. Do we have just like in the bag of holding like a cork board that we just intermediately pull out?
we get our own room in one of the things and we just start tacking stuff to the wooden
So
walls.
from what you guys can remember, that when you discovered the engineer's manual, it was written by an author, an engineer that went by the name of Qualish.
Qualish.
Yeah, the guy who Puck blew up. One of them, at least.
He was in the midst of trying to use engineering artificer activities to bring a primordial
Sky
titan
right?
back into existence.
Or a cloud giant or something, yeah.
Well, he was using parts of the cloud giant to accomplish it. That was actually 11 days after you guys dealt with the Fire Titan.
Yep.
And Qualish, we thought, had lots of simulacrums.
Somebody told us he did.
Yeah, so even if he was blown up, we could pull him through a gate and talk to him.
But would all of him know what each of him is doing? That sounds really weird to say. Sorry, that sounded really weird saying it out loud. But would all of him know what each of him is doing?
It's a good question.
Because the one we saw was like really augmented looking guy.
Well, in the room that you found, the space that you found, the beginnings of that information about the Hands of Fate also exposed the teleportation circle that took you down into, it was Titan's Reach.
Yeah, Thane's Reach.
Thane's Reach. And once down in Thane's Reach, you begin to begin to figure out what they were trying to do. They were trying to harvest this thing called the Heartstone, which was believed to be a stone that powered a Titan. So you don't believe that the Heartstone is a beacon. The Heartstone was almost like an engine.
But the piece of the stone that the Wild Mother gave me that came out.
That was a gift
for closing the Obsidian Gate.
Correct.
Yeah. It was not the
like a
Heartstone.
boon.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point,
That's what we gave to Erebos, though.
Correct. You gave him the hope of a goddess.
Oh, we didn't give him the Heartstone?
No, the Heartstone was the big giant stone heart that was unearthed in the mine.
And is that just still sitting down there?
Blown up because that whole place, the volcano exploded.
Okay.
Which
Remember
prevented the Fire Titan from coming into existence.
Yeah, we all nearly died there.
But I will say that little bit that you just talked about, the
rebirth
fact that
stone
when
is what
you
I
guys witnessed Erebos, he was a dragon.
Yep. Then he was a sparrow.
But
And then
when
he
you
was a
first
human.
saw him in his corrupted state and his altered state.
Yep.
It was a dragon.
Right. And is it? I'm going to go out on a limb here, team. Is it possible that Erebos may be the spirit guardian of the Voik?
It would
dragon
actually.
clan?
It actually would make sense because he's supposed to be maintaining like the balance of time and space, which is what these clans were tasked to do.
Therefore, he could theoretically be moving through time as well.
Yeah.
You know, I read this sci-fi story one time. Fantastic science fiction, fan science fiction,
Fan fiction,
right? About this tribe of priestesses that could communicate back in time, and they kept giving prophecies back to people way back when, and saying, everything that this guy now does is now prophesied to be why he's going to be the new leader.
Is there no place safe from Dune? What leaves the tavern?
We did find a purple worm.
Out.
We did come out of a purple worm, right?
I can't believe this. She comes back. Okay, I've had some time to relax. I'm okay again. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's something weird out there.
It is something weird out there. Do we want to call upon Erebos?
Yeah, maybe we should speak to him.
There's the rebirth stone again. I'm going through all my notes. I'm still digging through my notes.
What do we want to ask him exactly when he arrives?
How you been, buddy?
Yeah, I mean...
Do you recognize this blue female? That you supposedly have sired at some point?
So...
I mean... feels like...
You were called the daughter of
I creepy there.
daughter of Helm,
I think it's a lot of metaphorical stuff. It's probably a different version of Xanth, and
At least if he recognized you,
yeah. I think we would want to
you
know.
might have to take your helmet off though to do that.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
I've got helmet hair.
Yeah, you must have the worst helmet hair in the world.
It's basically one dreadlock.
I just probably have like permanent dents in my forehead where the helmet is poking in. So I think we'd want to know from Erebos, like, you know, was he the dragon of the Dragon Clan? Does he know anything about the beacons?
His relationship with Dominion.
Yeah, his relationship with Dominion.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna be mad that you guys killed Draxelgrix?
Well, what do we need to know the most now so we can stop Mason?
I like how Xanth and Puck don't even acknowledge that question. They're just like, done with you, Earthen.
Look, hey,
Do we think that Erebos...
That's a classic Vax and Vex. I walk away.
Do we think that Erebos was affiliated with Dominion?
Dominion said they were.
What did Dominion say? Did he say Erebos was one of his creatures?
Oh God. Honestly, I don't
That's how
remember.
he described it.
Yeah, I remember Draxelgrix and Erebos were creatures of Dominion.
Well, Draxelgrix was not a fan.
I don't think his kids like him much.
Yeah, and didn't Erebos, we think, flee to escape Dominion's control?
No. I remember another story about some, Titans and gods and stuff. I read up on a lot of weird text, but about like children of gods tend to really not like their parents. Sometimes the parents try to eat the children to get stronger too.
Oh God. Well, be careful, Zan.
But
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Don't season yourself with salt or anything.
Erebos is the child of Dominion, though. Dominion would be the god. Erebos would be the child of, right? So that may be why Dominion and Draxelgrix were fleeing Dominion. Also, he's an evil son of a bitch, but
I would like to know a little bit about Dominion's involvement in all this. So
I'd also say that from your perspective, based on what Puck has described Dominion being an origin of chaos, if he's describing Draxelgrix and Erebos as being origins of chaos, it's almost like he's describing a yin and yang kind of interpretation. The dark and the light, the shadow and the unshadowed. More importantly, you would have remembered that if which is the true entity that was released, was the original corrupted Erebos that was captured, was that his form he took when he fled Dominion? And when they captured Dominion or captured Erebos, the Nomarchs, the Copper Takers and the Copper Keepers thought that they would reveal the power of the Heartstone to them so that they could then use the Heartstone to fashion it into the Titan that was being constructed through the Qualish engineer as well as through the instruction manual of the Hands of Fate.
And then there's the Voik lore of the Great Kraken out in the middle of this sea.
Ooh, Kraken. Tell me more about this monster that I would like to meet.
This is what the Githyanki guy told us about the Voik before. That there was a Kraken associated with some of the Voik lore. They had totems and then something about a Kraken.
It's believed that the myth of both those of the culture of the Astral Sea and those that are burdened with the myth of Exandria, there's a lot of lore surrounding the possibility that this great celestial being crashed to Exandria, and on the flats of its 9 tentacles, it holds up the 9 islands that make up the Shattered Isles. So there's just this kind of mythology that tries to explain the destruction of the Shattered Isles, or the Shattered Isles. And this is one that became very popular because it's probably linked to just the overall disaster that was Calamity.
Huh.
They also have 4 cultural festivals, and I think we're about to hit one. That's what we're closing in on right now. Is the
Correct.
spring festival.
Correct.
Remember, they counted everything by seasons here too. They don't. Years aren't a thing. It's seasons.
Do we know anything about this upcoming festival?
Only that it celebrates the ending of winter, and it's a week-long event that celebrates the oncoming, the spring period, the eventual summer, and then fall celebrations. You do know through discussing with the other Voik through your downtime that they see it as a very kind of time of premonition of lore, and lots of times the celebration revolves around asking the elk, the gable keeper goes into kind of a meditative state, becomes an oracle, and it's kind of a tradition that all the people of the clan ask their one question of the oracle, and then that's shared throughout community. And it doesn't feel like anything necessarily nefarious. It just feels like part of something that they celebrate as part of their culture. It feels important to them.
I guess before the festivities start, we should decide if we want to talk to Erebos now, or if that's something we want to keep on the back burner.
Well, if we're gonna talk to Erebos, I recommend we don't do it here in the village.
Do you want to go?
On the off chance he shows up in dragon form, just in case.
A very, very good call. How about we go?
I know a place.
Perfect.
This I'll take if are we gonna go now and do this, or?
I guess if we want to do it before the spring, because who knows? Time is very strange here, and also a lot of things seem to happen during times of premonition, I would say. So maybe it's best that we do this now before whatever comes next come next. Again, time seems to be moving very strange here.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I will lead us to the standing stones, where I did the ceremony with the spirits.
So you guys all get stand up, grab your equipment, and head out of the mead hall. You find yourselves taking a different pathway up a series of steps along the cliff face. These steps eventually lead to this huge crag-like overwatch over the seashore down below. And you could see a great kind of series of stones and totems. This place feels like a holy place. Like it's something that is religious or at least culturally significant to the clan.
So I was told this place was basically where the last battle concluded in the breaking of the clans. And seeing as they fought the Dragon Clan at that time, if we are able to bring Erebos back here, and if he is tied to this thing, how we think he might be tied to this thing, he should recognize this place, I think, right?
It would make sense.
At least in theory.
Yeah. I will, before we start, throw up Twilight Sanctuary around us, and then I'll start I'll start casting the gate.
Has everybody eaten from the hero's feast?
Yeah, you guys currently have Hero's Feast in effect.
And I've long rested since my spirit journey, yeah?
Yeah, everyone.
I mean, just so I'm
Excuse me.
like back to full, yeah.
Yeah, everyone would be at a long rest at this point after the time dilation.
What's our 2d10 spot? Is it, or we each roll 2d10s, or you roll that for all of us?
I think it's probably supposed to be me rolling for all of us. Oh god, it's a big 3.
Oh,
Nice.
it tasted
Nice.
good. At least it tasted good.
It tasted great.
A lot better than the shit pail soup from the boat.
Since I have Twilight Sanctuary up, everyone can take 20 additional temp HP.
Earthen feels like a freaking god now. I almost have 100 HP right now. You have no idea how this
With
feels.
all the preparation, you watch as Xanath pulls out the very expensive diamond out of the folds of her clothing. She presents it for the final invocation. Make sure you mark off a reduction of 5,000 gold of wealth as the diamond is consumed. As it is consumed, the dust of the diamond begins to float around. It begins to oscillate in like a liquid pattern. There's a pulse of energy. And then a very familiar entity arrives. As Erebos steps through the gate, stands before the four of you, his eyes glowing, his hands containing the stone that he was given.
You still have it.
I do still have it.
And
Might I
you're
say,
not trying to kill me now. That's great. That's so much better than the last time I saw you. I mean, you held me up by the throat last time. I wasn't trying to hurt you.
a lot of things have changed since then.
They certainly have.
Puck kind of looks to Xanath to speak to him and tries to see if Erebos reacts to her in any way.
I'll put out my hands and say, I'm sorry to pull you from the place where you were. We have questions and we think you may have answers. We think that important things are at stake. Would you be willing to talk to us?
He walks like very close up to you, Xanath, but as he's walking towards you, he stops near Puck. He turns towards Puck and his eyes flare a little bit. And he gives you, Puck, he gives you a very knowing smile. Like, you know more truth than you're capable of remembering. Like that, whatever you experienced with Dominion, he senses it. Doesn't openly say anything, but he senses that you've been affected by Dominion. But then he quickly focuses his white, empty eyes onto Xanath. If I answer these questions for you, then we are caught up, even.
Yes.
It is the least I could do for those that helped free me from that prison. The gate closes quickly, though. You only have so much time.
We're here amongst the void. They've described a dragon clan who delayed their passage through the void, but later traveled through the void accompanied by a dragon. Was that you?
Yes, when I led my father Dominion, I was his hate. Unlike my brother, who was the hope of Dominion, I carried all of the hate and anger of my father. In order not to be found, I used different places between places, planes of existence, the astral sea. I used these things to hide myself.
To hide yourself from Dominion. Is that right?
Yes, to hide myself from my father. More importantly, I am not proud of my manipulation of peoples to help hide myself from. It was after my subsequent defeat, when the Dragon clan was defeated, that I was cast back, and in a unceremonious moment of concern, I noticed something on the volcanic island that called for me. A shadow of an ancient creature long before even my time of existence. And I sensed maybe it had purpose for me, but I was wrong. Upon my arrival, I was captured, contained, sealed inside that chamber by the gnomes that lied to me.
Why did Dominion have you lead the Dragon Clan through to the Shattered Isles?
He didn't. I did that on my own accord. I used that as a means to cover up my escape.
And what did they believe they were doing?
They believed they were following their spirit guardian. It was a manipulative lie, but it worked at the time.
Where did you lead them from?
I led them from the planier existence of the celestial heavens. They are Azimir, after all. It was easy enough to convince them that I was a spirit worth following. What I wasn't anticipating was finding more of them at the other end of the rift that I was forced to use in my means of escape. A battle ensued. I fled. And I have no recollection of the Voik beyond that, other than time they served a purpose.
Can you recall if, after the battle, any of the Dragon Clan survived?
Yes. One fled with me.
Do you remember their name?
I believe he went by the name of Mason.
And can you remember what happened to him?
We diverged. I responded to the echo that was beckoning me towards the island. He said nothing to me. He traveled a different path. I never saw him again.
Do you still sense any presence of Dominion now?
Dominion is at the beginning of all things. Out of their presence, many things came into creation. I believe I am one of 3 children of Dominion. First one, my elder brother, Draxelgrix, the one that was hope of Dominion. I being the anger and known by Erebos. In Azimir, Erebos means darkness. However, there is a third entity that went by the name of the World Bearer. He is known to Exandria as the Great Kraken, Ukatoa.
Did Dominion speak to the members of the Dragon Clan?
Not that I am aware of. Dominion is not something to trifle with. It is.
I'm glaring at Puck right now.
it
That statement.
is pure chaos. It's
Spot just kind of raises a paw, just like, but like bad chaos, right? Like not like helpful chaos.
Erebos just kind of smiles and laughs. Chaos is a description of a condition of what it is. Chaos is simply something you cannot control, a random outcome, regardless of morality or concern. Some would say that inside the minds of all of us harbors a small amount of dominion, bad choices, bad arguments, random thoughts, random occurrences, things that you do throughout your life that you simply cannot explain why you do them. But this one, this little one, you've been there. You stood in front of Dominion, didn't you?
I have.
Quite chaotic choice to make, don't you think?
I wanted to know more, and I wanted to see everything. And I was somehow infinitely younger and believed in my own strength. I have grown much older by meeting your father. But at the same time, what made me go with him was the story of how he longed to see his sons. When I realized that that longing was not the kind that I could understand, not the kind that would result in a family, then I understood the depths of my mistake.
The hard path to come back from, but you succeeded. You are still yourself, are you not?
For now, my powers are still connected to him. If that means that I will return to him when I die, the way another that I have killed in his honor, and not by my own intentions, then that is the price that seems fair.
It's from this point that you notice Erebos' eyes flare slightly as he looks at you and then the others. Draxel Grix has passed on. He's gone. How did you accomplish this?
He wanted to die.
Draxel Grix cannot die unless... I ask again, how did you accomplish this?
I look at Xanath.
He was purified. A spell of restoration allowed him to be free.
Then hope has been let upon the world. I remain trapped as what I am, an avatar of hate. This stone, this boon that you afforded me when I fled my chamber of imprisonment, it keeps me contained. Hope and fear coexist. It explains why the stone became so powerful to me all of a sudden. I couldn't understand why. I was fleeing constantly, trying to stay away from my father. But then suddenly the stone imbued me, the counterbalance to my own hate, my own fear. And I was able to no longer have to flee. I could be myself yet again. I would not recommend releasing Ukatoa. That is a creature that belonged to my father for the purpose of remaking worlds.
How would one release Ukatoa?
Well, it's almost happened a couple times. There are 3 pyramids that keep him sealed. Keep him from leaving where he's currently imprisoned. In fact, you stand upon many of the borders of his tendrils. Ukatoa is a creature that destroys worlds, or makes them, depending on who he listens to.
These beacons that the clans protect, what do you know about them? Do you know their purpose?
I do not. It was the beacon that afforded me the trajectory of the rift. If I sense power, or relic power, I use it as a way to anchor myself in between planes of travel, in between places, the pocket dimensions that exist between those planes. Their power can call you to them. I use them simply as a roadmap to find my way through the different planes. What they are, I couldn't tell you for certain. I can tell you they are as old as my father. And my father goes back to the beginning of all things.
Puck shows him the firestone that they got from the fireplane. What do we do with them? Do we make sure that they are not reachable? Do we break them so nobody else can use them to open the gate? What is their purpose? Or what can we do to keep the balance as it is?
To discuss their purpose, I must take you back. Take you back to a time when this world had not yet formed. It was but a gleam of power in my father's eye. From him ejected the mass, the energy that would become Exandria. And here he hoped to practice his power, infuse hope, use fear, and use his Titan to create a place that would worship him for all time, to be the only God that existed. But other entities sensed his power. Other things recognized what Dominion was doing, and they intervened, brought their own Titans. And a battle waged all across Exandria, shaping it into the world that you know today. And in my father's anger, he cast out Ukatoa to destroy the world. That also allowed me and my brother Draxelbrix to escape. And without hope and fear infused into the world killer, it simply created calamity. The gods, sensing what had happened, created the celestial gate. The celestial gate is what they hide behind. At the same time, casting down the 9 betrayer gods, the dark to their light, giving Exandria its hope, its pathway towards divergence, to try again. But my father can crawl into the mind and play havoc with it. I always sense his want to find me, but Now that I am both hope and fear, he does not know what that feels like. He does not know what I am now. I am merely the shroud of time. I keep the planes aligned with each other. I keep the celestial heavens ordained. When you and your friends use magic to travel to the different planes, it is I who do that. It is my essence. It is my purpose. This purpose was given back to me by the bare kindness of mortals. Do not be fooled by my father. If he finds you again, it's because he has a purpose to do so.
When we first met, did you recognize me?
Gods, ever since divergence, have come to the material plane for the purposes of espousing and finding their way towards their followers, their believers. In your world, they're called avatars. But to become an avatar, a god puts a small fragment of themselves in this avatar. And these avatars have been known to either exist for a single moment of time or wander for millennia across the place that they were destined to be. They have no memory of their godhood, but yet they can't explain what they're capable of. Somewhere in the ancestry of your people, an avatar of Helm may have existed. It's the only thing that could explain your resemblance to the monolithic structure that I remember seeing when I fled Gnomework. But I would caution you, daughter of Helm. Gods are cryptic for a reason. I am what you would call a lesser entity. I serve a single purpose. The greater gods have long forgotten their purpose, and their sense of self-preservation of their power and their ancient ways have become far more important than the dealings of mere mortals. Your mind can think of things in terms of seconds, minutes, hours, even years. Their existence is existential. They cannot fathom time any more than you can fathom the idea of grabbing a comet from space and hurling it towards another planet to merely change its shape and make it into something else. They are the tapestry. I am merely a thread.
Is there a way to seal the gate permanently?
I have no knowledge of what this gate actually is, whether it's a thing to be sealed, a thing to be destroyed, a purposeful barrier between different worlds of existence. You guys watch as the gateway crackles slightly.
Before you leave, you must know what Mason has been doing. Can you tell us why?
For this one, Puck, give me a persuasion check, if you would, please.
Damn it, Earthen. Puck is notoriously not charismatic. Does anybody want to help me?
I could give you guidance by tapping your back. That would be plus a D4.
Thanks. And you know what? I'm gonna burn a lucky point because now I have them.
Ooh, nice.
It's a natural 20. It's 22,
Oh.
and I'm gonna take that D4 because we need this. That's gonna be a 24.
Sweet.
Erebos kneels down to kind of get closer towards you, Puck. His eyes flare with a bit of heat and energy, and his face, shrouded in ash and cloud, kind of boils around you. I don't know the person other than what I've described him as the sole survivor of the Dragon Clan. Remember, the Voik are Azamir. When the other Azamir cursed him, he became fallen. I have sensed his energy and his purpose as if he is moving through many different rifts all the time. I think he seeks something. He is looking for something very specific. And he has grown impatient. He's grown desperate. And his anger deepens. As a final means of gratitude for my freedom, take this, Puck. He hands you a very simple copper coin. On one side is an image of a turtle. On the other side is an image of Erebos. When things look very dire, you feel your life threatened, your friends threatened, and you see no way out, toss this in the air. Call me or my brother. We will do what we can.
Thank you.
He turns and walks towards the gate. Stops as it crackles yet again. One could almost think that this is a fated opportunity, a sense of resolve. If you go after this thing, Mason, resolve yourselves for a hard fight, deadly fight. But remember, people of power leave breadcrumbs without realizing it. Find his weakness. It's there somewhere. I sense this conversation is because of your previous victories. Find the truth of your final victory. Find his weakness. Where did he come from? Where does he hail from? What does he seek? The gateway crackles, and he steps through it. And the gate falls silent. And that's where we're going to finish tonight. I think that's a perfect ending. That felt like a year and a half of recap. I don't know about anybody else, but that felt like a year and a half of freaking recap. That was awesome.
That was
so cool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half pages of notes.
Oh my God, is that cat been shaved?
He has. He's got his lion cut.
I was going to
His
say, he's
summer
got his
lion
lion
cut.
cut. Let me see his tail, because I saw him walk in.
He's
He's
got
so
he's got a little
football
poof on the
tail.
end.
Mom, you always embarrass me. How dare
You look
you?
handsome.
Hey, everybody, thank you for coming out and joining us. You guys go ahead and linger. We'll talk schedules. Everybody else, be kind, be safe, and don't forget, play a game. Good night, everybody. And look at that. Just like that. Just like that.